Hello. Welcome to, what will be the final Community Hangout session of 2021. It's absolutely insane how fast this year has gone by. I'm looking forward to, in the next Community Hangout session, so the one in January, I'll do a bit of like a recap of the year as well, like 2021 as a whole year, and then talk about sort of more plans, like general, kind of a little bit further into the future for January, as well as all of the short-term stuff as well. I'd love to see you say hello in the chat, like where you're dialing in from. I always really look forward to these sessions just to chat. Basically, if anyone's new to these Community Hangout sessions, it's essentially me just chatting about what we've been up to this past month, what we've got planned for the month ahead, and then also just answering any of your questions. So if you've got any questions whatsoever related to, it could be related to Frontend Mentor, it could be related to your own like learning journey, it could be kind of any questions like career related questions, like asking for advice, like anything like that. Any way that I can help you out, like I'll try and help you out as much as I can. We've got a few people saying hello already, which is great. Oh, the voice is repeating, Dejan. It might be, have you got YouTube? Is it repeating for everyone? Or it might be that you've got YouTube open in two places. I'm not 100% sure. Cool. Glad to hear it. Hey, Isaiah and Juveria, Senives, great to see you. Calling in from Texas as well. Amazing. That's cool. In London, got a nice sunny day here in London, which is always very nice at this time of year. It's not a regular occurrence. So, like I said, thanks for confirming that, Juveria. Yeah, glad it's not my mic. Glad it's not the mic. So yeah, like I said, I'll be going through some stuff that we've been up to this past month, and then what we've got planned for the month ahead. But then also just do feel free to just start asking questions in the chat, and then I'll get to them. I might kind of answer them as I go, as you ask them a little bit here and there, but then also I always leave a bit at the end to really dive into a bit of like an AMA, kind of ask me anything session, where you can literally just ask me anything you want, and however I can, I'll try and help you out as much as possible. Oh, Solomon, you've just joined today. First day. Amazing. Welcome to the Frontend Mentor community. I hope that you enjoy being a part of the community. We're a welcoming bunch. And yeah, we try and support each other wherever possible. So yeah, welcome. Great to see you here. Cool. Okay, so this past month, we had one big feature and one sort of new page, which was a main thing, like an announcement that we were going to make. And with this, I'm sure most of you anyway, probably know what the announcement was. And it was essentially to do with the hiring platform. So for those of you that don't know, our next big step as a company is to launch a hiring platform to sit alongside the main learning platform, which we've already got. So with you all doing challenges, kind of completing challenges on the site, and submitting solutions, giving each other feedback, all of this kind of stuff, you are kind of practicing and gaining real life experience of taking a design, taking a project spec, like a project brief, and then taking that and building a UI and a responsive UI as well, and then kind of submitting it as a solution, as a project. And this is literally what you would do on a day-to-day basis in a digital product team, like in a startup or in a company. So like this is real applicable skills. So for us, now that we've got like last month, actually, we hit 250,000 registered members on the platform, which is absolutely incredible. That's sort of total members, both free and pro subscribers. So to hit 250,000 was absolutely amazing. But what we've got is an incredible talent pool. Like all of you are they're potentially looking for jobs. You may or may not be looking for a job. But for those of you who are looking for a job, maybe it's your first job in tech, or maybe you're already working somewhere, but you might want to move. Like it seems like a logical fit for us just to try and help you connect with great companies. So we can launch, what we're going to do is launch this hiring platform to complement the main learning platform. The hiring platform will be specifically for companies. So that would just be where companies sign up. And then you as a developer, all you need to do is just continue doing what you're doing on Frontend Mentor, completing challenges, giving feedback to other people, helping each other out as much as possible. And the first thing that we're going to do on the hiring platform is that we're going to have something called talent search. So this is going to allow companies to subscribe to the hiring platform, and then they'll be able to put in some search criteria. And then we will have our own kind of algorithm essentially that will then say, okay, these are the top people, like based on your criteria, these are the top people that you need to talk to. So it might be that a hiring manager is looking for a junior developer, but they need to be based in the US or something like this, or maybe India or wherever. And they might want them to have, they don't need any years of experience, but they might want them to have like a little bit of React experience or something like that. Maybe it's a React role or something like this. So they can plug in those things, and then we will be able to kind of show the top people on the platform that are looking for work, and then they'll be able to reach out to you. And as a developer, so like I said, all you need to do is just continue using the platform. One of the things that we're going to do fairly soon is going to be adding a little toggle in the header where you can say that you're available for work. So you are you're going to have to opt in. So obviously we wouldn't want to show you to companies if you didn't want to be shown to companies, like if you weren't sort of available for work. So you have to opt in, and then you'll fill in kind of educational background and like a little bio and all of this kind of stuff, like the usual type of thing. And then at that point that you're available for work, you will be able to show up in the search results on the hiring platform. So I'm sure a lot of you will know these plans already because I've spoken about them a bit over the last months. But one of the things that we did this month was that we announced it kind of wider, more publicly. I put out an article entitled "A Better Way to Discover Junior Front-End Developers," and this is the area that we're going to really focus on and try and specialize in, is helping junior front-end developers find companies and help companies find incredible junior front-end developers with hands-on experience building projects, which is exactly what you all are as well. Juveria is asking, is that only for pro members? No, this is going to be for absolutely everyone on the platform. Obviously, being a pro member, you're able to then showcase your skills maybe a little bit more, because the projects are a little bit larger, a little bit more professional, but at the same time, it's open to everyone. So whether you're a free member or a pro subscriber, you will be able to set yourself as being available for work, and then you'll be able to show up in the hiring platform. So this article of kind of a better way to discover junior front-end developers, I put this out in a few different places. It got a really good response, and that was then to lead people towards our new landing page, which you can see on the platform now. So in the header on the website, you'll see a new link that says hire developers. And if you click through that, that's the new kind of landing page, which at the moment, all we're doing at the moment is trying to get build up a waiting list of companies who are interested in using the Frontend Mentor hiring platform to discover talent. So with this, we've already had lots of companies signing up. I've already had lots of kind of Zoom and Google Meet chats with like CTOs and founders and company owners who kind of want to use the platform or are interested in using the platform. And for me, those are kind of just discovery calls to make sure that what we're building is going to suit their needs, and it will help us sort of refine the idea. But it's just great to have that landing page up on the website now, which is brilliant. This now is like a little sort of funnel towards the hiring platform for companies, people who come onto the website, and then obviously as it gets closer and closer to launch, we're gonna start ramping up like the content marketing of like all of the benefits of hiring junior developers and all of this kind of stuff, because there are so many companies. There are a lot of companies who are more than happy, like they love hiring juniors and training them, but then there are also some companies who focus on sort of just hiring like midweights and seniors. And I always think that these companies are missing a trick, because juniors, they bring like fresh set of ideas, fresh set of skills, a fresh viewpoint, all of this kind of stuff, and you can really train someone up to fit perfectly within your company. So there's so many brilliant aspects to hiring juniors, and there's no one location where junior developers can be found. It's only through companies who are it's only like companies putting out job applications on jobs boards and stuff like that, and then developers coming to them. Whereas there's not really any platform where companies can say, okay, we want a junior developer, so like this is where we need to go to discover our next hire, like our next junior developer. And Solomon's asking, you're more focused with front-end developers only. Yeah, at the moment. So what we've got on Frontend Mentor is obviously like it's mostly front-end challenges. We do have challenges on there that can be full stack. Like we supply a JSON file that can then be used to seed a database like MongoDB or something like that. We've got some actual full stack challenges, or challenges again that can be used full stack, like the product feedback app and the invoice app and all this kind of stuff. So you can build challenges as full stack projects if you want. And we're going to be saying, like, we do have full stack developers like learning on the site, but we specialize in junior front-end developers. So and it's the same for companies that might want someone with 3, 4, or 5 years experience. It's another one whereby like we've got lots of people on the platform with years of experience who might then want to look for work through Frontend Mentor by setting themselves as being available for work. But again, like our main kind of demographic within the community, like literally around from surveys that we've put out, around sort of 80% of people have 0 to 2 years experience within our community. So so we are really predominantly focused on junior front-end devs, but it's also like people would be able to find people that do full stack on the site as well. And also they would be able to find people with more experience than like no experience or 1 year or 2 years. They would be able to find that. But we're going to be kind of saying that that's what we're specializing in. But then given time, we can then sort of branch out. So there's nothing to say that in a year's time or 2 years time or whatever that we haven't broadened it a little bit. And yeah, so I always like to, whenever I start something new, I always like to start with the absolute smallest thing and then grow out from there and kind of evolve from there. And that includes the people that you're targeting as well, like the people that you're kind of trying to help. Like with Frontend Mentor, we don't do tutorials because you've got places like Free Code Camp and Frontend Masters and incredible instructors like Jessica Chan and Kevin Powell and people like that who do incredible tutorials. So we're saying like, if you want to learn the theory, go over there. There's some incredible resources over there. However, if you want to practice coding and build projects, then we are the perfect place for you. So like we did the same with Frontend Mentor as a platform. It's like just focus on creating great challenges for the community. And we're going to do that with the hiring platform. We're going to really nail down helping companies hire junior front-end developers, because that's the largest part of our community, and those are that makes up the bulk. But then we'll be able to start sort of expanding beyond there, given time. And St. Ives is asking, will we be able to will we be able to work with startups also? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be open. The companies that we're going to try and attract are going to be kind of tech companies and like agencies and things like that. So it's going to be it's open to whatever company wants to hire a junior front-end developer, and that will also include startups. It will include more established companies. It will include kind of digital agencies. Lots and lots of things. So we're not going to be, it's not going to be like an Upwork or something like that, where everyone's sort of bidding on projects and it's all contract based. We want to help people find full-time employment. Like that will be the major thing. People will be able to say that they are available for contract work and freelance work and all of this kind of thing. But again, that's not what we're gonna target. First of all, we're gonna focus on trying to help our community get into full-time front-end development roles with companies who are hiring junior developers. Like that's gonna be our like niche essentially. So Josh is here. Yay. Hey Josh. Josh is, well, some of you may know Josh as Apple Pie Giraffe on the platform. Josh works with us now part-time on Frontend Mentor while being at college as well. So very, very busy person. You've not been very well this week, have you, Josh? So hopefully you're feeling a little bit better. But yeah, so those are the major plans with the hiring platform. We're super excited to build it, and like just very, very excited to help more of our community get into work with companies. So adding the hiring platform landing page, like that was a big thing that we got done this month, and putting out that article, which it was really great to hear the response from that. And also the fact that now we've got a wait list, and I've already started having like Zoom chats and meetings with CTOs and founders and people like that who are they're genuinely interested in signing up to the hiring platform when it launches. So very exciting stuff. Cool. So next up, one of the big feature that we shipped this month was tags. So tags, I'm sure you all know kind of the mechanics behind tags. Like tags are absolutely everywhere, places like Twitter and Dev and all of these different platforms. Being able to tag something and then also follow those tags as well. So follow kind of topics. And we really wanted to put this out for two reasons. So one is so that you can follow topics that you're interested in. So for example, now when you submit your solution, we've got a new field whereby you can add up to 5 tags. So maximum of 5 tags that you can add. And these are things that are like in addition to HTML or CSS or JavaScript. We don't have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript tags as options because it's kind of, we take it as a given based on the challenge. Like it's a HTML and CSS challenge, you're going to be using HTML and CSS. So the tags are very much there as they're there more as like additional tech. So if you're using React, or if you're using if you're using SAS or something like this, you can add tags to add a bit more extra context to your solution. But then also you can follow these tags as well. So if you are a person who's learning like React, for example, and you want to and you just want to see more React solutions kind of showing up in your home feed, then you can follow the React tag. And then whenever someone tags their solution with React, then it will show up in your home feed. And so this is great because it means that if more React projects are being put in front of you, it then gives you the opportunity to sort of dive in, look at the code, see how other people are building React projects. You can think like, oh, this is a good way to do this, or maybe like I would do this thing differently. It just gives you a bit more context and a bit more of a well-rounded perspective when you're looking at other people's projects with the same tools. So with the tags, they're very, very like beneficial because they'll really help you see more relevant content in your home feed based on the tags that you're following, and obviously the people that you're following and the projects that you've completed, like the challenges that you've completed as well. So that was a big one. And also another big thing about tags, which we're not really going to make use of until the hiring platform, but it is going to be a big use of tags. And this is why we launched tags before we did the hiring platform, is that the tags that you use on your projects are going to influence where you show up in the search based on the hiring platform's talent search. So for example, if someone is looking for a developer with like X amount of years experience and all this kind of stuff, but then in skills, they put, we want them to have some knowledge of React, like some experience using React. Then when they hit search, we're going to be kind of running the algorithm and sorting everyone. But then based on the amount of projects that you've completed that use React and have got the React tag, then that will influence your search results. So if you're someone who's completed 15 projects using React and you've tagged them all with React, that's going to really weight kind of heavily in your favor to then bump you up the search rankings, because it's going to say to this hiring manager, like, this person has 15 projects worth of React code that you can now sift through and see. And this is all before they've even got in touch with you to have an interview. So for a hiring manager, this is incredible because they've just got this incredible body of work to go through, or the CTO or someone like that, or a lead developer can go through, see your code, and then they can make the decision to reach out to you and have an interview and maybe a technical test or anything like that. So the tags that you use on the projects are going to be very, very important. But it's also important that you make sure that you use relevant tags as well, because if you tag projects with React when you're not actually using React, then that's going to be very easy for someone to see, and it won't reflect very well. If a hiring manager is like, oh, great, this person's using React, and then they go into the code and there's no React in the code, then that's probably going to be something where they'll be like, oh, okay, this isn't like obviously a React project, and it might be sort of a mark against you, and then might move on to the next person. So yeah, make sure that the tags are relevant when you use them, and yeah, just keep on building projects, and yeah, that's like the tags for both the platform, just for following more content that's relevant to you, but then also for the hiring platform is just really, really useful and really critical. Solomon's asking what date, and you added, what date are you launching this? Awesome idea. That's a nice little addition. Thank you so much, Solomon. So we're aiming for early 2022. And we're being very kind of vague with it because we're keeping the project scope very small, but then there's still going to be a lot of unknown unknowns. So we're hoping for kind of Q1 2022. So that's anything up to the end of March is what we're aiming for. But then I'll keep everyone in the loop with it before then as well. We're going to be adding, before that though, we'll be adding the little toggle where you can say that you're available for work. So you can kind of get everything prepped and ready. So we'll be adding that first of all on the platform, on the learning platform. So you'll be able to say, yeah, I'm available for work, and here's my educational background, and here's a little bit about me and all this kind of stuff. But then that will just sit there. So obviously there's no hiring platform at that point. So that will be just getting that ready. And then we'll launch the hiring platform early next year, and then get the companies on board. And then it will be off to the races. Then it will be, yeah, I'm just so excited about it. It's going to be really, really cool. So this is what we've been doing last month. So adding a new landing page for the hiring platform, putting out the article, and starting to have like not telephone calls, like Zoom calls and stuff like this with companies. And yeah, just starting to build a bit of an interest in it, and start to build a waiting list for it. And then with tags, obviously now you can follow tags, so you can add tags to your solutions, and you can also follow tags as well. And this is another thing that we've added. So those were the two major things. We did a lot of like bits of refactoring, and we're kind of continuously moving components into Storybook and adding tests and all of this kind of stuff. So there's lots of other little bits and pieces, but they're not as exciting as those two pieces of news. So now this coming month, and do feel free, like I was saying before as well, do feel free. I know that some of you have asked some questions, and I'll get to those in the AMA. But yeah, if you've got any questions whatsoever, like again about Frontend Mentor, or about your own learning journey, or about your career, or anything like this, yeah, just feel free to ask them in the chat, and then I'll get to them in the AMA in a little bit, because this section won't be too long actually, because I've already kind of told you quite a bit about what we're going to be doing this month, just by giving context for the last things as well. So yeah, do ask your questions. Like, just ask as many questions as you want. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you throw at me. So yeah, this coming month, the first major thing that we're going to be doing is Mike and I are going to be sort of really just sitting down. This will be at the beginning of next week. We're just going to have a number of days where we're going to be workshopping the hiring platform. We know can, like, theoretically and everything, what we're going to be doing. We've got wireframes, we've got designs like already created, and all this kind of stuff. So we know what we're going to be building. But the next step is to actually plan out that build. So how, like, what are the rough time frames? How are we going to prioritize things? So like I was saying about adding the I'm available for work toggle at the top of the platform, for you all to add ahead of time, like that will need to be the first thing that we work on. And then it will be like adding the actual hiring platform and things like authentication and payments, and like the talent search, and actually kind of coding up the algorithm for how we bubble certain people up to the top based on search results and all, or the search criteria. So it's going to be a good chunk of work. And yeah, you always need to plan, like really just take the time at the beginning to like plan everything out, really dive into it in depth, kind of theoretical depth, but like depth nonetheless. And what that does is it helps bring up surface any red flags early on, rather than just kind of charging headfirst into it. Doing that extra planning at the beginning really brings up these conversations and makes it so that you're kind of as prepared as possible to have as smooth a project as possible. So Mike and I are going to be just doing the workshops and doing the workshops and like going through the logistics of building the hiring platform, and that'll be really fun. Like I love that stage. I'm always kind of I'm a little bit of a sort of I daydream quite a lot and I plan ahead. Like if you see the backlog for Frontend Mentor with the ideas and like all of this kind of stuff, it's quite a big list of potential things that we could add to Frontend Mentor going forward. So like this part of the project and also like beginning of new features and stuff like that. I always love those times. So I'm really excited about this because this is obviously a very big project and a big addition, a big next step for Frontend Mentor. So once we've done the planning and gone through it all, and like me, Mike, and Josh have all like had a proper call and gone through it all and planned it all out, then we'll be ready to go and ready to start building. So with the hiring platform, this is going to be from now on until we launch it. This is going to be our major focus. This is going to be our primary focus until the day that we actually launch it. And obviously it will be a big focus going on after that. But on the main platform, we'll be doing kind of minor tweaks and refactorings and bug fixes as and when they're needed. But we're not going to be adding any new kind of major new features to the Frontend Mentor learning platform for like until the hiring platform is live. And that's so that we can just focus on getting this done and then signing up companies and getting like connecting our community with these great companies and hopefully getting some of you into jobs would be absolutely amazing. So we're going to be focusing on the hiring platform. First step is just for me, Mike, and Josh as well to plan everything out logistically, going through timeframes. Obviously, we've got Christmas is coming up soon, so we're not going to be doing a huge amount of work over Christmas. That'll just be keeping things ticking over until the new year when we get back into it. So with December, we've got a good few weeks now of solid work, and then it will be like kind of 10 days or so where it's just things are ticking over. Like we'll still be in the community chatting, and obviously I'll be answering emails and all of that kind of stuff. But then we'll pick back up again in January. So it's a bit of a shorter month this month due to the holidays. So yeah, that's what we're going to be focusing on. So planning out the platform and good number of days next week, sort of workshopping the logistics. Like I said, we've already got the designs and the wireframes and all this kind of stuff. We've tested it. We've done the interviews, like usability testing, all of this kind of stuff. So now it's just a case of like actually building, planning the build, and then starting to build. So before the holidays, we will have started to build. And the first thing will be working on that availability toggle on the main platform. And then it will be kind of the hiring platform proper. So yeah, that's this coming month. And like I said, this is our major focus now. So it's kind of a short list of things that we're going to be doing, because that's just our major focus now. So I'll dive into questions, like any ones that I've not answered yet. And with this, I'll just keep on going until I don't have any questions to answer until I get to the end of them, basically. So if you've got a question that you want to ask me, like I said, it could be about Frontend Mentor, it could be about your own learning journey, it could be about your career, anything like this, anything that you'd like to hear my thoughts on, please do feel free to ask them in the chat. So if I just go down, So Akim, so this is two-part question. I'm doing the intro component with sign up form challenge. What I noticed that in this and other challenges, not all colors are provided. For example, with shadows, there is no color. So should we invent them on our own by adding opacity to one of the main accent colors? Yeah, like so with this, we don't provide absolutely, like we provide all of the colors, like the sort of primary colors and the neutral colors and things like that. For things like the box shadows and maybe the hover effects and things, you can either use opacity or like a little bit of trial and error. This is one of those things where, like, to provide absolutely all pieces of information in the style guide would be very, very hard, especially as you get to larger projects. So we provide the primary, like the main colors, like the primary and the neutrals. But then if you're using on the free side, if you're using the JPEGs and the style guide markdown file, then there will be a little bit of trial and error in some of those. But then obviously, if you've got the pro subscription, you can then download the design file, and that's got like absolutely every single piece of detail in there. So that's where you can really see the detail. But for things like this, like the pro subscription is great when you really want to get like serious experience of taking a design file, using the design file and getting as close as possible, and like practicing like a professional developer would be building in a real life environment. Then the pro subscription with the design files is great. However, if it's if you're just starting out and just starting to practice and just getting that muscle memory going, then I wouldn't worry too much about things like box shadows and those tiny little additional colors. With those, like, yeah, get it close enough, have a little bit of experimentation with it, but definitely don't worry too much about it. Like the idea is more just to get you up and running with like good semantic HTML, well-written CSS, responsive layouts, all of this kind of stuff. Those are the major things. And then as you build more and more and more projects, you might get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm confident with how to build UIs, but now I really want to refine my skills of like getting it as close to the design as possible. And then at that point, potentially the pro subscription would be a good option, where you can get the design files and really go into it in proper, like, real detail. We have Mohammed asking, is graphic design required to become a good front-end developer? What is your advice for a junior front-end developer? With this, so graphic design, like web design, like this kind of thing, is not it's not important at all, and it's 100% not a requirement. I'm awful at design. Like I'm very, very bad at design. I'm colorblind as well, so like anything that I do come up with color palettes, they don't typically work very well at all. However, I'm a decent front end developer. And if it wasn't for color pickers like on the computer, then I'd be in real trouble. But yeah, so being a sort of a designer is absolutely not a requirement to become a front-end developer. I actually see this quite a lot on Twitter, where developers are kind of get quite stressed out, where they're saying kind of, oh, learning HTML, CSS, I'm really getting comfortable with HTML and CSS, but what's a good UI design course now that I need to go on? And it's like, you don't. Like, if you don't want to become a web designer, you don't need to learn design. Like, that's a completely separate discipline, and companies will have UI designers, and you as a developer will work with those designers to then turn their designs into a clickable UI. So if you want to become a developer, just focus on coding. Like, don't worry about design at all, because all that will do is distract you, probably stress you out quite a lot, because it will be a lot of extra additional learning that you don't need to do. And that's just, it sounds like a recipe for burnout for me. So yeah, just focus solely on the code. If you want to be a developer, if you want to be a kind of what they call a unicorn, where you're like a front-end developer / UI designer, then that's absolutely fine. And yes, you will need obviously some design skills to do that. But at the same time, I would still focus on one or the other to start with. And then once you're in a job, you can then train to kind of broaden your skill set. I wouldn't go after one or both of them immediately. I'd just go after which one you prefer and then branch out later down the line. So that would be and your second question, what is your advice for a junior front-end developer? I'm guessing, so on the like pre-job side, it's just practice. Like, this is what Frontend Mentor is there for. Just build up that muscle memory, build up those skills, talk to other people as well, give feedback to others, start talking about code, starting thinking critically about code. And then beyond that, once you feel that you're ready to get a job, just start making applications, and obviously have a good portfolio of 2 or 3 projects. You don't need more than 2 or 3 good portfolio pieces. So you don't need to go too crazy. Just make sure that you've got a really high quality 2 or 3 portfolio pieces. And then yeah, just start reaching out to companies. And obviously, hopefully in the future, you won't actually need to even reach out to the companies, because hopefully they'll be coming to you on the Frontend Mentor platform. Would be the ideal world. But yeah, that's my advice. And also just be like, when people hire for a junior developer, they're not necessarily hiring for the finished article. So it doesn't matter if your code has some errors in, or some refinements could be done, or anything like that. What people are looking for mostly is drive, passion, and personality as well. Just like, would this person, like, is this person going to be like a good addition to the team? Do we think that they're going to really push themselves to improve and learn our processes and all of this kind of stuff, and integrate with the team? So as long as you can prove those kinds of things during the interview process and during with your projects and stuff like that, then you're good to go. So those would be my major tips. Excellent. And yeah, we had Solomon asking what date we're going to launch the hiring platform. So that's kind of Q1 2022. And Juveria is asking, is it necessary to know how to do wireframing to be a front-end developer? No, it definitely isn't necessary at all. Like, similar to the web design thing, you don't need to. Like, I've learned to do it, but that's because I've started a company, and I'm not a product manager or anything like this. So I've had to learn these skills out of necessity. I've not learned. If I was a fully employed front-end developer, like, I could just very happily just write code and just focus purely on the code. So with the wireframing side of things in a company, typically this would be the job. Sometimes, like, depending on the company, it could be the product manager or the UX designer or the UI designer. It depends what the makeup of the company is. A lot of the time it's the UX, so the user experience designer. And these wireframes are there to make sure that the interfaces that are then going to get designed and built are usable. Like, that's the most important thing, because there's no point if something looks beautiful, both in design and once it's built, but it's completely unusable, then obviously it's a fairly useless thing to build. So with wireframes, like, it means that you can just test the general layout of the content, run some, like, and when I say test, like, literally build the wireframes and put it in front of people, and give them a few what you call like user journeys, so big user journeys. So maybe if it was on YouTube, a big user journey might be how do you save this video to a playlist? And so if you had a wireframe of YouTube, then you just sit back and just wait and just see what this person does, and they would hopefully be explaining their thought process to you at the same time. And then you can be making notes of like, okay, they found the drop down menu really easily, they were able to click save, it was not a problem. Like that user journey, 10 people in a row did it without a problem. That's a good one. Whereas then there might be another one where like 6 out of 10 people really struggled with it. And so at that point, you're like, okay, we need to refine some of this. So wireframing is not important as a front-end developer. It's very important as a company, like trying to build something. But yeah, it's definitely not a thing that you need to know as a developer, which I'm sure you'll be glad to hear. There's enough to learn as a front-end developer without having to learn web design and wireframing and all that kind of stuff on top. Solomon is asking, will there be a place to fix our desired salary on the platform? Yeah, this is one thing that we're still going back and forth about. And we're talking to companies, we're talking to developers as well. So Solomon, if you want to DM me in Slack, like please do feel free to just give me your thoughts on this. Because some of the companies that we've spoken to when we've talked about search criteria, they've listed kind of salary expectations as a part of the search criteria. And as a developer, it is nice to be able to set your salary expectations as well. And it would be, if we did do it, it would be a range. So you could say anywhere between, I don't know, X thousands and this thousands per year. Then like this is my range. And then if the company had a budget, you would be, obviously, if you were outside like too low or too high or anything like that for the budget, then you might not show up in the rankings. And so, yeah, because thing is with this, like with job postings, it's always like, if we ever had a jobs board on Frontend Mentor, which we may well do, like as part of the hiring platform, we may well then also offer the companies the ability to post a job listing on the website. And then anyone in the Frontend Mentor community can just look through the jobs board as well and then reach out to the companies. In that instance, we would 100% have, the companies would need to put their salary ranges in. Like I hate seeing job listings where the companies don't have their salary requirements. They just say like competitive salary, and then they just put it down to sort of negotiation with the individual developer. Like it saves everyone so much time if you're just transparent. You just put your salary range up there based on like experience and all this kind of stuff. Then it means that if you're paying less than some people would be happy with, then you're like, people won't apply, which is a good thing, because otherwise you wouldn't want to get like 5 steps into the interview and have like invested all this time and then say what the salary is, and then someone say, oh no, sorry, that's not enough for me. Yeah, sorry, this isn't going to work out. Like, it just wastes everyone's time. So on the job listings, 100%, like if we do go down that route in the future, in the talent search, it's something that we're going sort of back and forth about. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Solomon, so please do DM me in Slack. It would be great, like I said, yeah, say similar situation, like if the developers set their salary expectations for full-time work, and if you're looking for contract work as well, you could set your kind of hourly rate as well. But then on the company side, they can set their budget. Because a lot of people that I've spoken to have said, yeah, we would have a budget for a position. So we'd have like X amount of thousands per year salary as a budget. We can't pay more than that. And then there may be a range based on experience, all that kind of stuff. But we would need to be considerate. We need to find a way of making sure that like it's fair to the developers. Like, we don't want the companies to then just be able to sort of jimmy the numbers necessarily, and find like basically kind of figure out exactly what your salary expectations are. So there's going to be some sort of thinking and UX around that if we do that, but I think we probably will. But as you can probably tell, we're still thinking about it at the moment. So yeah, Solomon, love to hear your thoughts. So do message me in Slack and let me know. Estee Tay is saying, treat developers like cooks. Most of them just translate recipes into food, don't write their own recipes. Same for front-end developers. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. Like you're sort of, yeah, you're a cook. Obviously, maybe someone else has written the recipe. It's like me trying to cook. If I'm not following a recipe, then it's a bit of a disaster. So yeah, it's like the design is the recipe, and then you as the developer is like the cook that's then sort of implementing it. So yeah, you don't need to be like a professional chef in order to be able to cook yourself a dinner, like with this kind of thing. Yeah, same with front-end developers. Like you don't need to learn how to design the UI to be able to then build the UI. So yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. I'm going to use that in the future. So Dejan is asking, where can I find how to use HTML properly? And what are the often mistakes while using it? So what are the common mistakes while kind of using front-end, HTML? So first of all, I would recommend having a look at, if you go to the Frontend Mentor site, you'll see a resources link at the top. If you just click on that, there's a bunch of resources there. As far as a curriculum goes, I'd recommend Free Code Camp have got a great free curriculum, and it starts out with HTML. Frontend Masters, we've got a link to the Frontend Masters free bootcamp as well, and that's another great way of starting to learn the basics with HTML. And then also Mozilla Developer Network, so MDN. They've got some really good like HTML tutorials and articles and this kind of stuff. And the major, so those are my three kind of major recommendations of where to go for those. But then, yeah, common mistakes. I mean, the major mistakes that I see are not using semantic HTML, so not using the correct kind of HTML5 structural elements. So using divs all over the place. That's a big one. So make sure that you learn HTML5 semantic structural elements. And another one is like not creating a good hierarchy for the content. So you've got 6 levels of heading. You should only ever have one H1, and then H2s down to H6. You can have as many of them as you want. But like some people, I see a lot of people, especially in the newbie challenges, they just don't put any headings whatsoever and then just change the styles to make the text look larger. You always want to make sure you've got a good hierarchy. This is both for accessibility purposes, so anyone using a screen reader, the hierarchy of the content is really important. And then also things like search engines. If you've got a professional website that you're putting out there, the search engines will rank your website based on content in the headings, especially the H1 are very, very important. So good semantic markup, proper heading levels and content hierarchy, very, very important. And also using the correct elements for the job. So rather than having, I saw one in Slack earlier where someone was putting a div with a role attribute that was a button. And in that instance, you don't want a div with a role of button. You just want to use a button. So using the correct element for the job as well is a big one. So make sure that if you need a button, just use a button as opposed to changing a role of a div. So those are my 3 kind of major common mistakes that I see people make. Kind of not using semantic HTML5 structural elements, like either no hierarchy, like content hierarchy with headings, or jumping a level. So like having a H1 and then for some reason jumping all the way down to a H4 without having any H2s or H3s. That's another one. And then, yeah, just not using the right element for the job. Senaive's asking, is it okay to only have Frontend Mentor projects on your portfolio? Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, yes, you're more than okay. Like, one of the reasons I created Frontend Mentor, or like the idea behind it, was to help my students at the time. So I used to teach coding at a company called General Assembly, and a lot of my students, they wanted some good looking portfolio pieces. None of them could design, so they wanted like more professional stuff. And so that was one of the sparks of the idea, was like have professionally designed projects that people can put in their portfolios, really showcase their work. But then also you're saying, is it okay to only have Frontend Mentor projects in your portfolio? And again, the answer to that is a yes. Like there's been a number of people in the community who have got interviews and then also gone on to get hired based on the strength of their portfolio, and their portfolio has been solely made up of Frontend Mentor projects. So we try, like with our projects, we make them as realistic as possible to a real world environment, so that you gain real life experience of taking a design, like taking a UI and then building a project, and building a really good looking project as well. Like, I know if I was asked to build a project and then design it myself and build it from scratch, it would look awful. Whereas if you gave me a UI design, then I'd build it and it would look great. So, and this is the same. This is the whole thing about Frontend Mentor, is we want you to have a really professional, polished looking portfolio that then you can go to hiring managers and say, like, look, I'm ready to work. Like, I'm ready to work for you. Look what I can do. So yeah, please do put them into your portfolio. And also, if your portfolio is only made up of Frontend Mentor projects, then that's absolutely fine. You don't need to find projects from random projects from anywhere else. Like, there have been numerous people in the community who have got interviews and then got hired based on their sort of portfolio, which has just been, and M is in the chat saying hello, and M is one of them, actually. So M, I don't know, did you have any other portfolio projects, or was it all just Frontend Mentor projects? So M has actually just started a new job this week, I think it was, wasn't it, M? And sorry, I'm kind of chatting to myself and hoping that M will respond. But yeah, so like M just started first role as a professional front-end dev. She's been amazing on Frontend Mentor, giving people feedback and like building projects, like gone up the levels, like all the way from newbie all the way through, and really, really polished projects, really well built. And is now a professional web developer. So yeah, it is possible, and yeah, do put them in your portfolio. And Shashi's saying hello as well. Oh, the whole gang's involved. Amazing. Good to see you here, Shashi. So yes, please do put them in your portfolio. And also, if your portfolio is only made up of Frontend Mentor projects, that is absolutely fine. It's worked for lots of people already, and it just makes your portfolio look super, super professional. So yeah, go for it. Solomon is asking, I just started learning coding last month, the 29th. Is it too early to start working on a project? Solomon, are you talking about a professional project there, or are you talking about just kind of practicing building? I'm guessing you're talking about just practicing. And I mean, it's never too early. Like that's why we've got the 5 levels of difficulty, like the newbie challenges all the way up to the guru challenges. Like they're designed so that even if you've got just the basics of HTML and CSS, obviously, I mean, if you said last month, so you've only been coding for a few, like 3 or 4 days, or since last week by the sounds of it, I would, get the basics of HTML and CSS. So through somewhere like Free Code Camp, or the Frontend Masters free bootcamp that they've got that's linked to on our resources page. And then from there, like once you've got the basics of HTML and CSS, just start taking on a newbie HTML and CSS only challenge. And then like if you get stuck, we've got the Slack community. You can jump in, ask questions. People will help you out wherever possible. So we're here to support you kind of wherever we can. But as I would say, the sooner you can jump in and start building projects, the better, because people put it off a lot. And this is like, you will hear this term. If you started coding only a few days ago, you might not have heard it yet, but as you stay in coding longer, you'll start to hear this term tutorial hell or tutorial purgatory. And this is essentially where people just get stuck in a tutorial loop of like, take a new tutorial, complete it, or get like halfway through it, and then someone else brings out a new tutorial and it's like, oh, I need to buy that. And then they go and do another tutorial and then just keep on going, thinking that you're internalizing everything. However, when it comes to actually putting that knowledge into practice, then kind of the mind goes blank. And so building projects is the only real way that you can gain experience and all of this kind of stuff. So as soon as you feel comfortable enough, like excuse me, you will, like, once you've learned stuff like in CSS, like Flexbox, you wouldn't even need to know grid to get started. But as soon as you know like Flexbox and you know how to build like a 2-column layout or something like that, just dive in on one of the HTML and CSS only newbie projects. And then if you get stuck, just dive into the Slack and ask questions in the help channel, and we'll all help you out as much as we can. Amazing. Have we got any more questions? Juveria is just saying, yeah, I think Free Code Camp is great. Yeah, it's incredible. Like as a platform, as a structured curriculum, the amount of stuff that you get for free over there is just absolutely amazing. So it's like that's one of the places that I just recommend most of the time, because they just do it so well. And yeah, they're just brilliant. Amazing. Do we have any more questions? No, I can't see any more questions in the chat. So we'll leave it there for this month and for the last Community Hangout session of 2021. So thank you all so much for joining. I hope you have a great December, and obviously I'll be in the Slack, so you'll see me in the Slack. But then yeah, enjoy the holidays, have a great new year, and the next time that you'll be seeing me, Juveria's just snuck in with a question. Good timing, Juveria. I have practiced HTML, CSS on the platform, but just started with JavaScript. When should I dive into a project? Again, just as soon as you're ready. Like I would start out with the smaller ones. Again, maybe a newbie challenge that has a bit of JavaScript in, like a bit of form validation and stuff like that, like a little toggle or something, and then just build up from there. So just start really small, client-side validation on a form input or something like that on one of the designs that includes that, and then just build up from there. But it's just, with JavaScript, it's a very different kettle of fish to HTML and CSS. It's so much more open as to like how you could potentially solve a given task. So there's probably going to be a lot more head scratching with JavaScript. But again, if you ever get stuck, I always just lean towards just dive in, and then if you get stuck, ask questions. We're here to help you out as much as we can. So yeah, I would say if you just started learning JavaScript, as soon as you know how to like add classes and remove classes and toggle things, then just dive in on one of the small projects and then ask questions if you get stuck. Amazing. That was very good timing on that last question there. So enjoy the rest of the month. I hope you have a great December, and yeah, excellent time over the holidays. Hope you'll get to see family, and have a great new year as well. And the next one that we do with the Community Hangout session, I'll be doing a bit of a broader look back over 2021, and then also a bit of a broader look forward to 2022 as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you in Slack. Take care. Bye.